think it's very boring for people who are awake, who basically think beyond, or that how do you describe this, people who basically think more deeper than other people. I think it's hard. I think it's difficult for them to live, um, commonly among people. That's why some of them don't even have friends, or they're, you know, probably have a smaller group or something like that. I figured that, I'm I'm kind of, how do you describe this? I'm a bit more, in the reserved side, but I can be pretty, uh, spontaneous a bit, you know. I can be spontaneous when I want to, but I'm self-aware, you know. So, but it does get boring. Yeah, I mean, I would say, yeah. I mean, for someone who who is self-aware, it could get boring because life is a show. You see life as a show. You know, it's clown show. You know, everybody's paying bills. You know, for something, for someone. You know, everybody's, focusing on the 9 to 5 job, or focusing on college, or everything there, etc. People are focusing on money all the time. You know, um, and for those who are enlightened, we don't care about money. We just have it as a tool. It's like a tool. But I don't think those who are enlightened care so much about money as the modern people of today do. Um, and I personally don't. I have a lot of money in the bank. But not to brag, but I don't I don't I don't have an attachment to money or to anything. You um, and I'm luckily, I'm pretty lucky to do that, or to have that kind of, what do you call it, having that, skill, because a lot of people don't have that skill to be able to, um, you know to be able to control your emotions and to synchronize yourself with the outside world. Is a very hard skill to learn, because a lot of people don't know how to do that. A lot of people, when they look at money, or when they have a big chunk of money somewhere, they rather spend it, or, um, you know maybe go to a strip club or something, if you're a guy, um, or some crazy stuff like that. Wasteful time, wasteful leisure. And so, um, I don't do that. Uh, I don't find that efficient. You know, I feel like life is boring. In my own personal view, it's boring. If you look at life, you know, when you become 18, you know, what happens? Like, you're you, you're pretty much like you know, supposed to be your own person, even though no one teaches you how to be your own person. If you didn't have a good foundation, let's say, then, you know, after that, everything's random, you know? You're expected to do things, right? Even though those actions are good or bad, right? Um, and so, and then everybody's playing a part, a character in society, you know? Um, you have the teller, the bank teller, who's supposed to, take care of your money, in the bank, and the bank savings supposedly has your money there, right? And you are trusting in the US currency to be sustainable, right? And every day they're printing, I don't know, trillions of dollars every day, right? So, I mean, if you think about it, it's a game, right? All of this is a game, right? It's a game. Like and it doesn't end, you know. When you get married, you know, even that's a game, you know. If you're, you could you could have done all the right things, and then if the woman cheats on you or divorces you, then all that you've worked for is scattered and divided, and even that's a game, um, and even if you don't have kids, right? Even if you don't have like no generational kids or anything like that, it's still a game because you get a house, you still have to pay um, property taxes, right? So, at least in the United States, right? Maybe some places in the world don't do that, right? But in the United States, you have to pay property taxes for for housing, which I always thought in my mind was so stupid. Why would you have to pay property taxes for your house? It's so dumb, right? If you are the legal owner of a property, you shouldn't have to pay tax on that property. You can donate out of your own pocket to society, to the world, if you want to. But it doesn't mean that you have to pay property taxes obligatory, right? I never understood the concept of being forced to pay something, like being forced, which is tax, right? Being forced in this case is housing, being forced to pay a set amount on that thing you owe, that thing you own, right? The thing you own, right? You're forced to pay upon the thing you own. Just think about that. It doesn't really mean then that you own it if you are still paying forcefully upon this item that you own. Make that make sense, right? So, by society's standpoint, you might have the title in your name. However, you never fully own anything if you think about it. So it's a game. See, it's even in that perspective, it's a game. I was thinking about that. You know, it's like interesting. It's a game. You know, when you die is a game. Same thing. Life insurance. If you don't have life insurance, then the funeral costs are gonna be a lot. To bury you. Um, even that's a game. You have to get life insurance to protect yourself, to protect your family in case you die. Um, that's a game too. See, and so crazy, you know. So that's what I'm saying. Like the people who are aware, right? Those who are aware know this stuff, right? Like this is like this is like this is how the world is, right? But a lot of people don't know this. Like a lot of people can't uh they don't look at things at that deeper level, right? So quite unfortunate, you know, quite unfortunate because it's a spinning game, right? Like people focus so much on their job, for example. They focus so much on the on the actual goal, but they don't focus on the journey, right? So, um, yeah, I, I don't know why I was thinking of that. Just I just think that I think it's important to understand um, the system of this world, of this earth, of this, everything, because I feel like a lot of people are asleep. A lot of people are asleep to things. They're not aware. A lot of people tend to have um, what was this called? Um, they tend to lose focus on reality, and they tend to escape to fantasies. If that makes sense. And I think that's not a good long term solution. So I don't know. I I I was just thinking of that, and I wanted to make a video on that because I feel like a lot of people can relate to what I'm saying. Those who are enlightened, at least, right? Um, because I don't know. I mean, I go to work, for example, you know, um, and I see how everything is. I see customers, my job, you know, and you know, I look at them like just any human, you know. Um, they have their own set of issues, problems, etc. Um, you know, and and um, and I look at how they are, right? And so, but the thing is, I also see the game. Each individual that I interact with in my job, for example, how they how the game is for them, you know. Because once you like, I talk to many people in in my um, in my part time job, because I have a part time job, so I talk to a lot of people, it's a lot of interactions, and you get used to you get used to it. Like you get used to reading people. You know, I don't know if it's just me, but you get used to reading people, and it's kind of like second nature. I used to, long story short, like I used to be so attached to like sensitive emotions, right? Like every time someone criticized me at my job, or every time, even in society, not just my job, right? But even in society, I used to be so, you know, sensitive about things, every time, it's like someone criticized me about something, it's like, oh, I have to do so. I have to fix something about myself because someone criticized me. So so I have to do something, right? Or because like, because I was so sensitive, Um, I wasn't what do you call it? I wasn't balanced, I was taking everything personal, you know, and that was kind of like and the thing is, I was already having difficulties with my low self esteem already, because when I was younger, I used to have a lot of depression, and I used to have a lot of those things, um, and you know, I was already bad, and so I had more layers to that. So, yeah, I didn't really I didn't appreciate that. So, um, but I'm not doing that now. I definitely don't have that. But it was a problem. Um, you know, why am I bringing that up? Because along the line, I was in the game, right? So I didn't see the game as I see it now, but I was in the game. I was depressed, cycled, watching porn and all that shit. And I was just losing myself, because there's no other, for like, and at some point, um, along the way, at some point along the way, um, you know, um, let me see. At some point along the way, I became suicidal. So I mean, that was kind of like a phase, that I it wasn't it wasn't a new phase, of course, but it was like it was getting worse, So then it was like it was really bad, it was pretty bad, you know. Um, it's like it was really bad. So that's the game. So even that's part of the game. See, because like the system. See, look, you have to keep in mind we live in a society where the fittest are rewarded and the weak are not rewarded, right? So the fittest are rewarded and the weakest are not rewarded. So if you're going to kill yourself, if you're going to go in dark paths, like that's that's basically your de-evolution, right? And that's just how society sifts you out from the rest, right? So that's the game, right? Like all this is a game, right? And if you're not going through those things, you're in a different league, right? So and there's tons of instruments to make you depressed. There's the algorithm, you know, um, there's tons of things to create um, depression. There's tons of mechanisms to do this in a spiritual level, right? Because it has to be spiritual, right? Even things that are negative, right? So it's not gonna just be random, right? So I learned that, and I see it in people when I do my job. I see that in people. I see that they are depressed. I see how they're angry. I see that girl or that woman has has a relationship issue. I can feel it and I can see it, right? And so because it's like second nature now, because I like I said, I used to be depressed, and I used to cut myself. I remember, right? So I went deep a little bit, right? When it comes to like dark stuff, right? Emotional dark stuff. Luckily, I didn't go too deep, right? But if I would have kept going in the dark pit, I would have probably been really bad, right? Super bad, right? Um, cause like I said, I wasn't so afraid of, you know, I was going to. This is a funny thing to say, but I was going to, I was down, I was actually down for either like, um, doing drugs again, maybe, or like, I was down for that, or I was down for like maybe like, sleeping with some girl or something, that who knows, right? Like I was down for that. Like I didn't care, you know, because I just wanted to feel something, because when you have that feeling, like you just want to feel something, because you don't feel nothing, right? Because I didn't feel nothing, I didn't feel nothing. Like keep in mind, like if anyone who's watched my channel, I talked about I do talk about a little bit of some of my background history, but I guess I should talk about a little bit about it here too, right? But yeah, I mean, like I said, it was a bad, it was pretty bad, yeah, yeah. I don't. But here's the thing: I don't regret those moments, because like, you know, it's what made me who I am. So if it had to happen, it has to happen, right? Um, yeah, I uh I see things differently now. Like more aware about these things. And so what was I gonna say? I'm spacing out a bit. I was gonna say something about oh yeah, so all this is Matrix stuff, right? All this stuff, man, like it's all Matrix, part of the Matrix, you know. Um, so I don't adhere to the Matrix. I don't follow the things of the Matrix, because like, oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So before, okay, this is why I was gonna mention a little bit of my childhood. Um, so I didn't feel things. So like over time, not feeling things became normal for me, right? So what does that mean? Like, like I just don't feel nothing. Like I can feel things, right? Like obviously I can feel things, obviously, like a little bit, but what I meant by that is like I don't feel things at the level that others feel, right? And I'm self-aware about that, because like I remember, like, example. What's a good example? I'll give two examples. Okay, so I don't have much humor radar. I don't have a humor radar, for example. So if someone like wants to laugh about something, like I'll probably pretend laughing. I wouldn't actually laugh. You know, I'll be like, oh yeah, that's pretty funny. Like that's funny, because like, but for me, I don't find it funny. Because like I said, I don't find any, like, I find certain things funny, but the things that others find funny, I don't find funny, right? So I don't know if that makes sense, right? So I don't have a humor level, uh, a humor radar, or like something like that. How do you describe that? I have no idea. So I don't have that, you know. And every interaction every interaction I've had, it was always awkward whenever it was like something related to um that kind of stuff. So what can I do? I didn't. I know, like, yeah. I mean, I just don't find it funny. The lady was talking about some. What was it like? Some joke. I don't know what I can't even remember what the joke was. Right? Like, But like I said, I don't I don't find certain things like that funny. Like certain things that are deep, I do find funny. For example, like the man who works hard for his kids and then his wife, like 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 his wife cheats on him, and then he goes with the club and goes with his guys, and then he sleeps with he sleeps with other girls, and then says something silly, like says like I'm I'm a player now or something. I find that funny, because that's deep, like I find deep things funny. I don't find surface level things funny because that's like all nonsensical to me. I don't know. I always thought about life like that, you know. Um, and then I used to think that was, I don't know if that's normal, right? But that that's just how I see things. I used, that's why I think to myself sometimes, like, I'm not very humor. I don't have that much humor, right? Because I don't see the way thing like the way people see things in a surface level, right? Like surface bleh, tongue twister, surface level humor, right? I see things from a deeper level of humor, right? So I can see things deeply, like that example I gave, right? Like it's funny, like the guy literally, like, even though it's deep, right? Like it's like he like she cheated on him. She expected him to be a simp, or like she expected him to be like some, like, broken person or something. That maybe he is broken, but he's expressing himself in that way, right? So he's like going with another girl, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm a player," whatever. Like I find that funny a little bit, honestly. Like, so I don't know. Everybody has their own level, I guess. Who knows? But I see that, and society. Like I remember one time, someone said, when I was in my job, someone said, "You look empty," and I was like, "Hmm, I look empty." It's like it's like in my head, I was thinking like, "You look like, really? I look empty. I seem empty." Oh, I see. I didn't know. I didn't know what that meant, right? I didn't know what that meant, right? I was like, well, what do you mean, right? How could anyone be empty, right? And I was like, well, what was that? What the heck does that mean, right? And so I don't know. I mean, I started to investigate that. I was like, wow, yeah, because I think differently. Like when you think differently than others, it will seem that you are empty. That's what I was thinking. Like, because maybe the way you think, maybe the way you, like, the level of where you are at becomes different and inconceivable for some people, and it translates to as emptiness because you are not in the level of their observation, which is normal, right? So it's like, how can you read someone who's beyond your observation level, right? In the matrix, someone who sees beyond the matrix cannot relate to those who are in the matrix, who are expressing themselves in the matrix. We're not, and so I don't know. I and also I think I have a little bit of some nihilism, right? Where, like, nothing matters. We make sense of what matters in this world, right? And yes, I do believe in God, but I don't, like I'm very simple minded, like, with everything, like even with this, like, simple things, I'm very, like, okay, like, you know I have to do this, I have to do that. It's all a game, money's a game, everything's a game, relationships a game, all of this is a game, you know I trade my value for you, you trade your value for me, and then it's like, it's a game, pretty much. So, um, that's how I see it. Um, it's all a game, and even friendships is a game. Because, like, I'm, I only have one friend in this world, right? And one friend and his buddy. One friend, one best friend, right? Since childhood, and that's about it, right? All the other friends were like they came and go, and a lot of them were like backstabbers or like they just don't they weren't real friends, you know. Um, so and so and I have some social anxiety, so that's another thing. So that kind of messed everything up, right? Because like if you have that, you have social anxiety, and then you're like you can see things beyond what others see. Like that's kind of like a crazy mix right there, you know. Um, and so must imagine that, you know. So yeah, I don't think that life matters towards to the extent that most people think that it matters. Like when it comes to like material, all of this will go away. All material possessions go away. Everything goes away. You know, body goes away. Everything goes away. So live life with no fear, right? I said to myself, what's the point, right? Like, there's no point. Okay, I fear. Okay, I have fear. Okay, so what's the point? If I die today, then I die, right? So then I built myself a mindset of a bit of nihilism, you know? Okay, I don't have a girlfriend. Okay, cool. Who cares, right? Right. I used to care a lot about that. I think I made a video about that. I used to care a lot about that. Um, tons like a lot about that. Now I'm like, okay, cool. Like, who cares? Yeah, who cares? Right? Like, doesn't matter. Nothing matters. Like, you die tomorrow or die today. Who cares? I still believe in God. Praise Him. As best as I can. Um, not perfect. But I do what I got. I do what I have to do. And if God appreciates the way I praise Him, then so be it. That's the way it should be. Um, so I just see it like that. You know um, so you come as you are. That's what the Bible says. You come as you are. You don't come as a you know as a tryhard. You don't come as a tryhard. So like even in these videos, I don't edit them. You know, I'm just I'm just blabbering or talking or whatever. Because that's just how it has to be. Because what's the point of a video if you're editing constantly? You can edit a bit, but if you're constantly editing, then it's like, what's the point, right? You should be able to see your flaws a bit. See how you are. You know, that's great. That's not bad. I feel like people are like so obsessed over like flaws. You know, so obsessed over like perfection. It's crazy. It's insane if you think about it. So I don't do that. I'm trying not to do that. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I'm trying not to do that because it's really it's really bad, man. It's really bad to do that. It obsesses you with this game, you know. So yeah, you just live life like live life to the fullest. I mean, who cares? I mean, who cares? Like at this point, who cares? This is how I'm thinking. Like who cares? Like I went to the I went to a trail a few days ago. Um, and I just went. I just I just want, who cares, um, doesn't matter, you know, who cares, it doesn't matter, it's like, it doesn't matter, right? I'm already empty inside. See, that's the thing. Like, I don't feel things. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, it's hard to explain this emptiness. It's kind of hard to explain that. How do you explain emptiness? Explain emptiness. Tell me what that means. If any of you guys know, explain to me what that is in a very detailed way, because I don't know how to explain that. I actually don't know how to explain that. Like, it's hard for me to explain that. Like, what do you mean by that? Because you're still living, but deep down you know that there's something missing that you can't explain. It's just hard to explain this, right? It's hard to explain it. I can't say I can talk about this in a 30 plus minute video. It's hard to explain this. How do you explain that? How do you explain that? Even though I'm a little self-aware now, I still can't explain that. It's like, it's hard. It's a bit hard to explain that. It's there. I know it's there, but I don't know how to explain that. Like, you just know it's there, because like, you know you're not in that level or in that same frequency as others, right? Whereas others have a little bit of some, like, um, they have a bit of some aliveness, okay? Whereas me, I don't have aliveness as much. I have aliveness, right? That's not what I meant to say, but I have aliveness, but I just don't have the right frequency of that aliveness, right? Um, so I you know, which is very different. I don't know if that made sense, but I tried. So anyways, I went to the trail. Who cares? Yeah, I felt great, because I didn't have to think about anything, think about anyone, think about nothing. I just went. Um, I feel like sometimes detoxing from everything helps, to really get your mind straight, or just to do, just to do, because you just want to do it. You just want to actually, like, feel how it feels to be on your own, right? Because some people don't know how it feels to be on their own. Isn't that sad? Isn't that sad? Some people don't know how it feels to be on their own. That's pretty sad, if you ask me. I feel like that, like, yes, you do need people, but you also need that balance of being on your own and with nobody, right? It's important, that balance. Um, so I'm starting to accept that. I'm starting to accept my lonesomeness, I guess. That's even a thing. I'm starting to embrace that more. Because I remember I used to have a negative connotation to that. Like, always thinking so much, man. Like, if it wasn't like, escaping, like porn, it would be like what was it? Videos, like constant binging, Um, I don't know. It would just be like escaping, you know. And that'll be it. I'll just escape, to without, like, I don't want to accept reality, basically, type mindset. So I would do that, you know, so that I can forget, because I didn't want to embrace reality, because reality is painful. Reality is stressing, right? I'm already, like, at that time I was already, like, thinking negative about myself. Why do I want to acknowledge my own thoughts that are negative towards myself? Right? Makes no sense. Right? So, yeah. So that's what happened that time. So, yeah. So embrace the now. that's what I took from that. Embrace the now. Embrace the now. Um, don't take the Matrix too seriously, because you're still part of the Matrix, but it doesn't mean you have to follow what the Matrix, tells you to do. You can do your own thing in the Matrix without being persuaded by the Matrix. You can observe the Matrix and be outside the Matrix to observe it. Although you're never gonna be 100% outside the Matrix. You are living in the Matrix doesn't mean you are embracing things of the Matrix, right? You're outside the Matrix by you being aware of everything around you. So that's what I took from that insight. So I don't know if that was a. This is a long video. Yeah. So hopefully that's pretty insightful. I don't know if that was insightful, but yeah. Um, I don't know. I don't know if the beginning of the video became a little bit nihilistic, or like it came off as a little bit strange, or something like that. I don't think it did. So I was just putting my thoughts out there. So that some of you may relate or may not relate. Who knows? Because that's a. I feel like that's not talked about enough. People hide their true identity. They hide their identity with alcohol, different things, right? People just don't want to acknowledge reality. They're trapped in this bubble of illusions. So that's why they can't even question this game, you know? Um, you're trying to graduate from this game to reach spirituality. That's the goal, you know? So that's my take on that. Hopefully that was great, right? Sounded a little sick because I actually am a bit sick right now. So sorry if my voice wasn't too concise. God bless you guys. Stay safe. God bless.